Welcome to a special sneak peek inside of the 3-day series that I'm currently running on Instagram, where we challenge the norms of constantly being busy in business and explore what does it really take to claim back your time, energy, and attention for what truly matters. In today's busy world, it's so easy to feel like you need to be on all the time, as if it's a requirement for success. But I'm here to ask you, is it really? Stay tuned as we dive deep into this topic. Welcome back to another episode of the Savvy Founder podcast. Today's episode is super special because I'm going to be summarizing the first 2 days of the 3-part series. At the time that this podcast episode will be dropped, day 3 will be happening tomorrow. So if you're catching this on May 2nd, then go ahead and give me a follow on Instagram at EssentiallyJanae so that you can tune in to day 3 tomorrow live. It's going to be epic because we're going to be talking all about automations and the mindset that I use to approach automations. It's going to be so good. But today what I wanted to do is, for those of you who've missed out on the Instagram lives that I've been holding, I wanted to give you a way to really get all of the information in a really concise, streamlined way so that you can be caught up for tomorrow. So with that, let's dive in. Many of us have been trapped in this cycle of always being on in our business. And by that, I mean checking emails, scrolling through messages, hopping from task to task in business. And there's this just relentless pace that I think leaves us wondering, is all of this activity really driving us towards our goals? Or is this an illusion of progress? So I want to start by addressing one cold, hard truth. Being constantly busy does not equate to being successful. What if I told you that doing more really is not the answer? That in fact, the real key to progress and fulfillment lies in you doing less. Except not just less, but less in a very purposeful way. So in this 2 days, what we did was we explored the concept of impactful work. We explored the concept of impactful work versus busy work and how to really differentiate between the two in your life and in your business. And in the series, I was sharing some of my own past experiences when I was working at corporate and I was squeezing my business into the time I had on nights and weekends. And initially, I was so passionate about this idea of having a business, and I knew there was so much that I needed to learn, and that time was just not on my side at that time. And I didn't know back then, but now I know that what I was filling my time with was a lot of busy work that really wasn't helping me get where I wanted to go. And the results spoke for themselves. Yes, I got clients. Yes, I was able to make progress. But to be honest, my amount of effort that I put in never really back then at that time equaled results that I got out of the business, which I think is what we're all here for. Something else that I talked about when going into the topic of always being on in business is that the truth is that it's actually costing you more than just time, because what happens is, and this is something, what can happen is that in order to get ahead, which is what at least I believe when I was in that space of constantly doing a lot and feeling like I was always on, is that we are actually sacrificing moments that we can't get back. And a lot of times it's done under the idea that this is just a temporary phase, that this is not forever, that this is just what it takes right now. But I see it over and over again where that phase that is supposed to be temporary actually ends up lasting way longer than we anticipate. And it starts out so little, right? It's just, let me do a couple more things, and maybe you're sacrificing dinner with your family, or hey, I know that I said I wasn't going to work on the weekend, but I just have this one thing to get done. And it starts to really creep in. And it's fascinating because as business owners, at least from the people that I have talked to about business and how they really manage their time, their commitment to their business, and being the ambitious person that they are, where they want to have these really big businesses and they have massive visions, but also knowing that they started their business with the idea of freedom in mind, to be able to spend time with the people that they care about the most. And this is such a delicate balance. And it's one of the sacrifices that I see that happens so subtly at first, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger over time when we don't realize what's really going on in the fact that we're always on in our businesses. And this was kind of wrapping up the day one part, but something else that I dove into was the idea that, like I said, true success may actually require less. And if that sounds like a trigger to you, perhaps you've grown up thinking, well, I was always told you have to work hard to get results. I was always told you have to do more. But I want you to really think about incorporating this idea of doing less and allowing yourself to receive more. And there's so much we can talk about on receiving, but really this is just a conversation on how you use your time. It's so important that you let go of unproductive habits. This is one of the reasons why people stay on in their business. And once you really start to do this, what you will notice is greater satisfaction, way more impact that you can make for your clients. It will create a ripple effect for other people, not just professionally in your business, but personally. To wrap up that part of it, we have to change the way that we work within our business. Because by doing so, that's actually the pathway to optimizing the time you have and to achieve the goals that we want without sacrificing our personal lives. And in order to really do that, of course, you're going to have to be willing to challenge, question the deep-seated beliefs that you have around productivity, around efficiency, around what that looks like. And I urge you to really allow yourself to expand to the place of your productivity and efficiency not just being correlated to time. In fact, when you can disconnect that from time, where you're able to get things done in a way where you're not just taking more time. I'm sitting at my desk, I'm checking my phone, I'm doing the things. It's so powerful. The next part that we focused on was how to really start to get your time back. And some of the things that I shared is ensuring that you focus on high impact tasks. What does that really mean? In my experience, over the course of business and over the different mentors you've had, different strategies you've learned, my guess would be for someone who comes to me and says, I'm really overwhelmed, I've been burnt out, and I'm just putting so much time into my business, is that over time what you've done is from all these different programs and coaching containers and different things that you've been in, you've slowly just been adding more things to your to-do list. So you may not have ever actually gone back and just really assessed, is what I'm doing actually getting me the result? I will give you an example of something I shared in the live series, and it was that I initially had a Facebook group, and to be honest with you, I really liked my Facebook group. It was a space that I could go into. I really loved doing live videos there and just sharing nuggets and value. But when I really assessed where were my clients coming from, they were not coming from this Facebook group. And this Facebook group was actually taking quite a bit of time because I like to show up there daily, and it just didn't make sense. And so when I was really looking at it objectively, it was not a high impact task, yet it was taking up a lot of my time. And so I let it go. And it's so funny because after I decided to make that decision, I actually had a few people who were asking, hey, I just requested to join your Facebook group. Can we still get in? What's going on? And I just stood by my decision to get rid of tasks that just didn't move the needle forward. And I was like, hey, I'm not doing that, but there's other places that I'm adding value. So plug in here. And it's been fantastic. One of those places is right here on the podcast, where people can come and you can just pick what topic you're interested in and take a listen wherever you listen to podcasts. So much more easier than going into a Facebook group. So look at what you're actually doing. And if you've never taken the time to actually go through every single thing that you're doing in business, I definitely recommend it. Sometimes people's eyes glaze over when I say this, but I I know this is no exaggeration. Every single client, 100% of the clients that I've talked to about this, it's completely shifted the way that they interact with their business when it comes to work, because there's things that all of them were doing that really weren't moving them forward, but they just never went back through it, really assessed, was it moving them forward? What were the results from it? And this is where data and things like that come into your business too. But that's also a topic for another day. But do that. It's so valuable. Another point that I shared that I actually think is overlooked quite a bit is planning for chaos. What does that mean? What it means is sometimes what I see happen is when people are planning ahead, it could be content, it could be your program, it could be a launch. It honestly doesn't matter what it is. When they're deciding what their schedule is going to look like, what they can reasonably accomplish in a certain amount of time, what I see is people tend to default to an optimum scenario, meaning, say for example, you have 3 hours every day to work on your business. And so you are planning out what you're going to do, and you plan every day to optimize these 3 hours. And then life starts lifing as you're going through, right? Where, oh my gosh, something happened that day, and now you actually only have an hour because who knew that your kid would have a mini emergency and you would get taken away from it? Or maybe something happened where you needed to run some extra errands that you forgot to take into account. And now you're starting to feel the pressure of, oh my gosh, how is this going to get done? And that's sending you in a spiral where little do you know, you're spending more time thinking about the tasks that you're not able to do versus using the time you have available to do it. So what I do is I plan for chaos, meaning I plan contingencies for myself so that I don't freak out. I know, okay, at a minimum, whenever my baby is sleeping, I can do a little bit of work there. And to be really transparent with you, and I don't know that I've really shared this anywhere else, some days that's 30 minutes. Some days it's an hour. Days that it's an hour feels so abundant right now. But I know this is just the season that I'm in. And so I plan for chaos because inevitably chaos happens. And instead of letting that throw you off your square, be prepared. And if you have more time, amazing, then you just can use it and get ahead. But I love making these type of plans with my clients where it's really this is the minimum that you're going to do. And I had a client recently who went through this process with me, and she messaged me and she was like, I finished my task for the day. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to go outside and go for a walk now, which is not something she would have done. And the whole point of this is that you can still get a lot done in not a lot of time, but it's more important that you plan for your own peace of mind in that process, and you will be so surprised how much more time you get back. Also, embracing systemization is important. This is not even getting into automation yet. Systemizing is really just creating a process around what you're doing, specifically the repetitive task in your business. And then, of course, yes, leveraging automation, which is what we're going to be talking about in tomorrow's live, is automations that I would recommend for you to use in order to free up time and to free up mental space that can really help you with doing this. And if this is something that you are ready to really incorporate into your business and you want to uncover practical steps and insights that can help you make this shift to be able to collapse time, I'm going to be holding a workshop/implementation program that is all around how you can collapse time in your business, how you can change the way that you interact with your business so that you're actually able to leverage your time in a more efficient way and get rid of a lot of the fluff that you have that you may not even be aware of yet. If this is something that you are interested in, then just go on over to my Instagram and you can DM me and I will give you all the information about that. And with that, I hope that you enjoyed this summary of the 2 days and now you are more or less caught up. So make sure that you tune into the live video tomorrow, which will be Friday, May 3rd at 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern. And I cannot wait to see you there.